Good afternoon, everyone. I've got 1:30. Let's call the committee to order for the Ways and Means General Fund on March 26th. And Ms. Harper, if you will call the roll, please.
Representative Reynolds.
Here.
Representative Blackshear.
Here.
Representative Hall. Here. Representative Bracy. Representative Easterbrook. Representative Givens. Here. Representative Lamb. Here. Representative Lee. Here. Representative McCampbell. Representative Mooney. Representative Sorrells. Here. Representative Sales. Here. Representative Underwood. I'm here. Representative Warren. Here. Representative Witt. Here. 12, you have a quorum.
Thank you. And April the 3rd, I read the top of the page there, and it was the documented date. So let's call the first bill on the calendar, Ms. Harper.
House Bill 259, Judge of Probate of each county to conduct post-election audit.
Representative Wood, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and body. First of all, at your last meeting, I was here and we adopted the sub. And since that time, we have changed that sub, and I need to lay that sub on the table.
Okay, so committee, if you agree with the bill sponsor, then your vote will be aye. If you don't, your vote will be no. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, the bill is, the sub is laid on the table, and I understand you have a new sub.
Yes, sir, and I tried to make sure that I brought some individually by, had Miss Diane get the sub yesterday so that you would have an opportunity to look at it, and I'd like an opportunity just to talk about the differences. There's actually some probate judges here with us today and some different individuals that we've been able to work with, and they've helped us strengthen the bill. Although not all of them totally like it, it's something that they feel comfortable with. So that's where we are at this moment. The bill basically says, once again, that we'll conduct a post-audit election after each county or statewide race. That audit would only include one precinct. We changed the language to say the probate judge will not randomly select, but the caucus. The board, the canvassing board, not caucus, canvassing board would choose the random selection. The probate judge would choose where that audit took place, and it would be done after the contest. So there's no way that we would take a race that had a close person and they were contesting the race. That would not be included. What also we changed with this sub, the language changed to say that there would not be any provisional ballots or absentee ballots counted. So that was another thing that was important to the probate judges. So that pretty much takes into account the sub.
Okay, then if it pleases the committee, let's adopt the sub first. On
Yes.
the sub? Okay, can we adopt it before discussion? Okay.
Motion to.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, now we're on the sub. Ms. Givens.
Sure.
So what if there's something found? It's not clear to me, what would the next step be if the audit doesn't show what the original tally shows?
Everything goes to the Secretary of State's office for them to decide, and then they have to report to us, the legislative body. Yes, it goes to the Secretary of State, and Jonathan is actually here. He's worked with me as well from the Secretary of State's office.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Quick question in that same vein. If I recall, this is going to be past the contest
Yes, sir.
period. So even if they found that there was a difference of 20 votes, there would be nothing out there that would change that race. Am I correct? Because from what I understand, this bill is designed to help us determine the accuracy of the counting or the tabulation machines that we've been using for the last 20 years, according to you.
You are absolutely correct.
So therefore, we're saying it has no real effect in terms of affecting the race, but it is the previous race.
Correct.
But it will allow us to determine whether or not our machines are accurate in their tabulations.
Yes, I think that we have to have that conversation in the state. What do we do? How do we replace those? What do we do with aging equipment? You're absolutely right.
Okay, and from your and my conversation on yesterday, the Secretary of State's office has decided to bear the cost of this recount.
Counties will be reimbursed fully, and there's also someone here representative with the ACCA. They insisted on that language, and the Secretary of State agreed with that, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Representative Easterbrook.
Why can't they use the tabulation machines that they had before and not a hand count?
They can. It was also added to the bill. I'm sorry, Representative. They can use either or. They can use a machine that has been cleaned. It was not used in a race to recount. If it was used, they cannot use that. It would have to be like a ghost machine. Or they can hand count, and that is totally up to the probate judge and the board itself.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Did I understand if you're off 20 votes and the person won by 19 votes, it would not go back and change?
Where did you see that at?
Well, I thought I heard you say if it was off by 20 votes, it wouldn't go back and you wouldn't go back and change. Did I misunderstand that?
No, sir, there's no, this is outside the contest. So this is outside a person's opportunity to contest the race. The results from this would just go strictly to the Secretary of State's office.
So if you found an error that would even cost the person that won the race, you would not go back and
It's
change it?
after the window, right? It's after the 30 days, right?
Yeah, why are we doing, I mean, I have no problem with auditing. I think it's a great idea. But if we're going to do it, I think we should do it to be able to use it in case there was a problem.
Well, I think that the whole reason that we're doing this is so that we know that we have accurate tabulators. Those tabulators are older. A lot of times we don't check them. We go and we check them in the beginning, and we think if they work, then everything's correct. Well, I don't know if you've ever went to a precinct and the tabulator's down, and then they have to reboot it or they have to bring something else in. But this would give us an opportunity to get rid of that or replace it before the next race. I'm with you. I liked the opportunity for us to go back and look at that race as a candidate and have the opportunity to go back and do something about it. But that was not something that the probate judges wanted. They wanted it outside of the contest.
Representative McCampbell.
Mr.
And
Chair.
then Ms. Hall.
Okay. And in that same vein, we have a ability to contest a race, representative, and this is something, if you want to contest a race, then you have to pay for the contest. This is a state-sponsored, just checking their machines, rather than a contest of the race. So if indeed there is something found, you've gotten past your period when you could have contested the race yourself.
Ms. Hall.
Thank you. Was there any specific issue that brought us to this point that we should do a post-election audit?
I had several people that came and spoke with me about some of the testing that they had actually witnessed and went to. Several individuals had some very good concerns. And when I started checking the age,
Can you stop?
yes, ma'am.
So what were those when they went to? What were the issues about testing? That's what I'm looking for. What were the specific?
Well, there were some recently in the newspaper where the machine counted a copied ballot, not an official ballot that you received when you went and checked in. That's a concern. The other concerns were just the way that the testing was handled, that it wasn't properly advertised, that the public wasn't made aware of it like they're supposed to be.
The advertisement did not follow the procedure that was designated that should have
They
been
weren't
followed?
notified in time to be there.
Who, the candidate or the tester?
Both. No, the candidate and the public. The public. You know, the public has a right to come when the tabulators are tested.
You're talking about prior to the election?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
ma'am.
all right. Okay, so the candidates didn't receive information.
Well,
Of how-
the information is either, it is put on a public website, or it can be put in a newspaper. And so the public just felt like they weren't notified, and they did not attend the testing.
Okay. So each candidate, and we had a number of people having that issue?
I had several people call me.
Interesting. I mean, I hadn't, anyway, thank you.
Any other questions? So we're back on the on the original sub, the sub to be voted on. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose? Your bill receives a favorable report.
Thank you, Betty.
Next bill, Ms. Harper.
House Bill 276, law enforcement authorizes state colleges to employ retired law enforcement officers without officers losing retirement allowance.
Chairman Treadaway.
So, you know, the same discussion I had last week, you know, we've got to do something. Critical shortage in this state, it's not getting any better. Matter of fact, I got a bill downstairs that will allow campus police to have mutual aid agreements with local municipalities for this same problem. We just don't have enough. And recently just spoke with Ms. Scott, legal counsel for RSA. I promised to work with them. If I get the bill out of here, I will not sign to put it on the House floor and to have an opportunity to sit down with RSA. But I do believe the bill is that important that I'd like to get it out.
And thank you for working with the RSA on that. You and I have talked about this bill, and certainly I carried a bill similar to this for many years, and did not progress the bill because of the potential impact on the RSA actuaries. So just if you'll do that. So the sub's already been adopted on this bill, and if it pleases the committee, we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Your bill receives a favorable report. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Is somebody handling? I'll ask that you carry HB 334 over and to call the chair. If she shows up, we'll ask to pick you back up. You'll take over there.
House Bill 324, emergency medical transport providers assessment period extended.
Chairman Reynolds?
Yes, members, HB 324 is, this original legislation was created last year. If you recall, we moved this with the budget. It extends the program through the fiscal 2025. You know, this legislation has increased the reimbursement to ambulance services on Medicaid transports by almost $20 million in the past year. Quoting our local CEO up there, it's probably the best thing we've done to try to save a lot, particularly a lot of our rural ambulance services. So with that,
I got a motion to give HB 324 favor report. Second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, HB 324 receives a favor report, and Chairman Reynolds, I'll turn it back to you.
thank you, members. Next bill, Ms. Harper.
House Bill 352, juvenile courts, Department of Youth Services responsible for housing and caring for a child ordered to be transferred to custody of Department of Youth Services to reimburse county detention facility for cost incurred under certain circumstances.
Thank you, Chairman Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's come to my attention several months ago, it's probably been now 10 or 12 months ago, where our counties are paying for length of stay for the kids that are in detention homes. Now, the way the thing flows, and I had to learn, the judge will make a ruling for a kid to go to a regional juvenile detention center. Well, that is where the cost of the county usually picks up that pay. And what's happening for multiple reasons. One is, you know, we had COVID and lack of employees, and I understand there's issues, and we're giving them some grace period with the amendment that I have coming. But we have gone to the juvenile probation officer and tried to expedite the paperwork and all this. So it will go to, the child will go to the juvenile detention center, and then before the amendment, they have 12 days to get all their paperwork correct, so then they can be moved to a DYS juvenile area, wherever it is. There's 2 or 3 locations in the state. Well, what's happening now is they're staying beyond 12 days, and all that cost goes to each county. So after discussing with the folks from DYS what we've done, because they are about 50 employees short today, according to what I see compared to what they were in 2019, what we've done is expanded that 12 days for 1 year to 16 days to allow them a little grace period to give them the paperwork and the time to get it done. And then after 16 days, they pick up the cost rather than the counties. Now, after 12 months, it'll go back to 12 days. That will have given them almost 16 months of hiring 50 people to fill these locations. So I bring that to the committee. One is it's some motivation for DYS to get the people hired, to get the kids moved to where they need to be rather than being held into local regional. And their end goal is to get them into the DYS detention center. And 2 reasons. One, we want to get them there as quickly as we can to get them in a stable environment. And then 2, to take that burden of cost off of each county. Because at the end of the day, this is only about 20% of the kids too. Really, as I was told, 16 to 18% of the kids. So it's not all of them. It's only those that go through this process with a judge finding these, sending these kids to the detention center. Now, I do have an amendment that I spoke of that changes, it's in your packet, that changes it to 16 days rather than 12 for the first 12 months, and then it reverts back to 12 months. That's to give them some window of opportunity to get everything in order, people hired to be able to do the job.
Okay, let's adopt the amendment. Motion second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, we have the bill adopted and amended. And any other questions before we take a vote? Back on the original bill, HB 352, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Bill receives a favorable report.
Thank you.
Members, just real quick before we adjourn, as many of you know, the general fund budget was approved this morning in the Senate General Fund Committee. And so I'll ask Ms. Harper to send you a link to not only the bills that were passed, but also our spreadsheet kind of showing the difference between those two. So if you would, go ahead and get those copies and take a look at them. If you see anything that of concern, immediate concern, make sure you bring it to either myself or Chris's attention. And then as soon as we begin to make some adjustments to the budget, once they pass it on final floor passage, then we'll get those copies out to you as well. And then I'll try to bring you in and kind of brief you on the changes, and then we'll kind of look at a path forward. So probably 2 weeks out to try to move that back to the committee and onto the floor. Okay? And a motion to adjourn? So adjourned. Thank you.